Raw and Gene here to tell you that the only 1911 you should ever get is one chambered in 45 ACP because of a stopping power. All right. Tell your mom I said hi. What's that? What do you mean he already did that? What the heck is the internet? Now, this video is not going to be a review. If you want to see that, you can see Walsh's review video, and I'll put a link up here. So this video is going to be a loadout video. We'll go over the whole belt, touch on why I put things where I did. I'll also show you some options you have if you need to swap between things pretty easily. Now, I do want to start off and say that yes, this is my duty belt. I don't work patrol, and my previous job I was in the woods sometimes, so woodland camo is what I get, or what I picked. And at my new agency, I just want to stand out. But all right, let's go over my loadout. And let's start on my strong side. Right in front of my gun is my Defense Mechanisms handcuff case. Now, I love this way better than the leather ones with the thumb snap. Yuck. Now, I've seen some keyboard warriors in the past say stuff like, no self-respecting cop would have their handcuffs there. They should be in the middle of your back. But those same old timers are the ones that think basket weave is still cool. Now, I have handcuffs here for a couple reasons. One, while I was at the academy, our control tactics instructor talked a lot about not putting your handcuffs in the back. In case you ever go hands-on with someone and you fall backwards, you don't want to be falling on your handcuffs. Now, two, it kind of makes sense to me. Holster my weapon, shift forward, grab a hold of my cuffs. But whatever, I'm not here to convince you that my way is the best way, just showing you my loadout. All right, next is the holster. And I just use a True North modular holster adapter with a Safariland holster on a QLS fork. This will make it super easy when I change agencies, or I need to swap to a different holster, or when my agency decides it's okay to have a weapon light on my weapon. Now, behind my holster, skipping a few slots, is my IFAK. Now, this is my Defense Mechanisms loadout, and of course I'm running their fast pouch. This is a great little MOLLE-mounted IFAK pouch that securely holds the necessities. I also love that it's removable so I can work with it off my belt. And it's not smack dab in the middle of my back because it's super uncomfortable to sit like that, even for 5 minutes. But it's still in a position that I can reach with both hands. And that's something that's important to me. Now, some folks don't have their IFAK on their belt, instead they have it on their carrier. And from experience, I like keeping a tourniquet on my carrier and kind of a boo-boo kit on my carrier, but my IFAK stays on my belt. And again, this just kind of goes back to user preference and how you were trained. All right, moving along, the duck pouch is next. Now, some folks, like Walsh, run this under some of their other pouches. And I used to do that, but I found that I was really only using this for a couple things. One, while at the range to hold extra rounds or holding a water bottle. So moving it out from underneath my mag pouches and having it in the middle of my back was fine with me. If I fall back on it, it's not going to hurt that much, and it serves a purpose still. All right, moving along now. Next is my Baton pouch. Now you can easily swap this with OC pouch that I have here from Defense Mechanisms as well. Some agencies issue both, some you get to pick one or the other. Other agencies have tasers or that new Bolo device from RMA Technologies, but I've opted for a Baton here. Now, this Defense Mechanisms Baton pouch is placed behind my mags. I used to keep it in front of my mags, but would sometimes draw it instead of a mag during training, especially when I went with one of the larger batons that kind of stood out a little bit more. And putting it behind the mags prevented that from happening. Not as user-friendly because I'm right-handed, which means I have to draw with my support hand and transfer it to my right hand, but I train into that. Now, I think OC would be a little easier using with your support hand, but I've opted for the Baton. And I wanted to ensure that when I train, I don't train to access tools with my strong hand. I only access tools with my support hand. Now, some might want it in front of or behind their holster, since you're probably going to be using it with your strong hand anyways. But I've seen too many stories of cops that accidentally drew a gun instead of a taser. I didn't want to risk that. All right, continuing on, next is my Defense Mechanisms AR mag pouch. Now, this has changed over the years. In my previous agency, our long gun was an MP5, so I had an SMG mag, or I think it was a double mag pouch. This new agency, we use M4s, so AR mag pouch. Now, finally, ending the belt off is my double pistol mag pouch from Defense Mechanisms. I like keeping this as far forward as I can to ease with reloads. Now, I like a lot of belt space, but I also like to keep my back empty, so that's an area that I don't really utilize very well. Some folks like canted mag pouches, but I tend to see them taking up a little bit more space than what I want. And I've trained with regular mag pouches for so long, it's just kind of what I'm used to now. But that's it for my loadout, so let's get into my pros and cons. For my first pro, it's the overall lightweight design. For a two-piece system, it weighs nothing compared to the old Bianchi-style nylon belt setups. And probably pounds lighter than anyone that's still out there running those super thick leather belts. I'm sorry. Next pro, the ease of installing pouches. All of the Defense Mechanism pouches come with pre-cut pieces of Velcro one wrap. This makes installing pouches extremely easy. And no more hassle of having to disassemble your entire belt because you got the mag pouch in the wrong area. It's nice. Final pro, the lockup between the inner and the outer belt. Any of the patrol guys out there know the hassle of having to buy keepers to keep your outer belt connected to your inner belt. Those AccuMold belts and attachments meant you had less and less connection between your inner and outer belt. Now, Defense Mechanism solves this similar to other Molly style belts, but while also staying well under 1 pound. The old adage of ounces equals pounds and pounds equals pain really plays into a duty belt setup in my opinion. All right, a con about this whole setup, and I want to highlight that this is something that I have an issue with, but a lot of folks are probably going to disagree with me here. The Baton pouch. Now, this pouch really only works if you have one of the larger batons. If your agency has issued one of these smaller types of batons, this pouch is not going to work for you. But that's really it for me, folks. Overall, I think Defense Mechanisms knocked this belt design out of the park. Now we just need to convince them to make a DM mech belt in basket weave for the old-timey agencies that are out there. But I want to say thanks to our Patreons and our YouTube members. You guys rock, and we're continually impressed with the amount of support that you guys show us. I also want to say thanks to anyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below. Let me know if you're using the Defense Mechanisms Mech Belt as your duty belt. All right, guys. I'm out of here.